So I have no idea how this is gonna go. So I'm just gonna, start with, how I originally conceived her. So originally, when I was, first writing the thing that I've been working on, Sylva was named Oakland, and he was an awful character. I hated him, but, I could have written him better, but I just didn't. So that happened. But after a long time, I went back and looked at that old document that I had. I'm like, you know what? What if I just rewrite this? So that's what I decided. And in Zerani's video, I'll explain a little bit more about how my characters kind of came to be. But Sylva was the main character, and she and a different character, so she and another character, who I also ended up renaming, their name is Jay. She and Sylva are, together, but, there has to be trauma, otherwise Sylva has no character development. So, I decided that it'd be super smart to, kill off her girlfriend towards the beginning of the book, which is kind of her drive to, brutally murder Zerani, and all the demons. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about Sylva's, childhood, why she's so broken, and that now. Sylva was raised by her parents until she was 8 or so, and then they went on a trip, and so when they went on this trip, they had to cross over a bunch of mountains, and they died crossing the mountains, so, whoops. But eventually, Dr. Curson is like, okay, well, I don't think that they're gonna come back, because, they've been gone for, 7 years now, so Sylva's 15. And he's like, okay, you know what, Sylva? I'm gonna adopt you, and your last name's gonna be Curson, not Woodburn. And Sylva's just like, okay, does that mean I get to go to the Imperial School, which is where, she ends up being trained how to be a soldier, and that's why she's, knows how to fight. It isn't just, dumb character luck, that she's just really good with the sword immediately. She doesn't even fight with the sword. She fights with the battle axe. You might notice that there are some weird pauses in here where my tone will change, and it's because I had to pause to pick up my dog, and other things, so I'm sorry about that. Okay, well, there was weird noise. But, so, Sylva goes all the way through, the Imperial Academy. I need to change the name. It sounds a little too Star Wars-y, which is my fault. So I'm going to end up changing the name. I already have one in the works, but eventually Sylva gets into a really, really bad fight. And this nearly causes her expulsion, but luckily for her, the president has favorites. The president teaches one class a month, and he always really liked Sylva, so that worked out really well for her. And she narrowly manages to escape expulsion, and so she comes home to her dad, and Dr. Curson is like, dude, what the heck did you do? I heard that you nearly got expelled after I poured so much money into that school. It would have all been for nothing because of your little fight. I mean, what was it even about? And the fight was about someone calling Dr. Curson dumb. and Sylva nearly, killed him. But, like, since there's magic in this world, everything is fine. They got some magical healing potions, and, yeah, so, as a punishment, the president is like, okay, well, Sylva, I can't give you a good job immediately because, you nearly killed one of the students here. So he says, alright, I'm gonna send you to this stupid little tiny town, and you are gonna have to work there for, 3 years before you can come back to the capital. And she's like, crap, darn it, I kind of regret beating up that person now. So, after she goes home to her dad again, and she's like, okay, well, now I have to go to this goofy town named Freyan, because the writer of this story is really bad at making up names for towns. And I have to work there for 3 years, so you're not going to see me for 3 years, Dad. And he's like, oh, well, crap. Okay, bye. So she goes off out to Freyan, and boom. When she's there, she meets Jay, and she falls in love with Jay after a year and a half. And, you have the romance going on. So, Jay falls in love with Sylva, and eventually, Sylva's like, hey, you know what, Jay? I'm kind of into you. And Jay's like, oh my god, I am too! We should be girlfriends. And then, after about, 2 years, they all suddenly get called back to the capital. And, everyone is ready for battle, but Sylva, Jay, and the other people from the town are like, okay, so what's going on? We haven't seen anything. We haven't heard anything. Why are we all back at the capital all of a sudden? And that's when the president is like, okay, so we got news that Zerani, the big bad, is coming to the capital city. And now I'm a jerk. So, you're gonna notice something. I will not give her what she wants. Now, you might be wondering, what does she want? She wants more land, because her people are in a drought. But, that's not right, because they're our mortal enemies, so they have to die. The president isn't a very good guy. He's kind of a jerk. But, when Zerani does come in, she is actually quite nice to everyone. Even though everyone is, ready to absolutely murder her, she's like, oh, hey, dude, how have you been? Yeah, I don't know you, it's been, 500 years. So, Sylva is very, she doesn't trust Zerani for good reason. Sylva was told that she was given her post, which was up, not up, it was in the throne room, so, the president wasn't in the throne room, he was in his own office where he was talking to Zerani. Since he informed all the guard that he was going to say no to Zerani, everyone is, ready to kill Zerani, in case she takes it really badly like she did in the past. But eventually she sees the guard come, I'm forgetting their name, the presidential guards, coming out, full speed, chasing down Zerani, and Sylva's like, okay, well, crap, what just happened? So she starts chasing after them, too. But when she starts to think about it a little more, she's like, well, crap, if the president is dead, then that means that everything is going horribly wrong, so I feel like I should probably go and check in on Jay, and I also need to check in on my father, because, who knows what's going on outside? I know what's going on in here, and it seems like the presidential guard is kind of handling Zerani, so I'm sure it'll be fine. No one will notice. keep in mind, this is super illegal. She could get executed for this, but she's like, no, I'm gonna go check on my girlfriend, which is also illegal. The human side of the continent kind of sucks, just so all of you guys know. They're the real villains of the story. So Sylva is like, okay, well, I'm gonna go find Jay, and then I'm gonna go find my dad. And Jay was posted up, on, like, the wall, and when Sylva, like, goes up there, she's like, hey, have you seen Jay? Have you seen Jay? I need to find her. And everyone's like, oh, no, we haven't seen her. No, we haven't seen her since, we saw the guards running out of the gate. What's it called? The drawbridge. There we go. Since we saw them running full speed, like, over the drawbridge, which they demanded lowered. So it was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go find my dad then. She's probably fine. Jay's likely she's fine. She's dandy. She's strong. So she goes and finds her dad, but when she exits the drawbridge area, she sees that most of the city is on fire. And how the city is set up, so the castle is in the middle, and then it has several, like, really tall walls surrounding it. Jay was on the innermost wall, and then Sylva had to go all the way out through, which is probably not confusing. If I had a map of it, it's in my head. I need to write things down a little more. But Sylva runs out, and she starts going to where her house is, and when she finds the house, it's all burned down. So she's like running through the city. She's like, crap, is my dad dead? Is he fine? Oh, he's probably at work. So she goes to his, like, office area, doctor's office, there we go, that's the word. And she finds him there, and he's, like, all bloody and stuff, because he got kind of beat up. But overall, he's fine. You know, he's breathing. So she's like, okay, well, crap, Dad. That was really stupid of you. So now I'm going to go and grab you, and I'm going to bring you to the hospital wing. Just say that you got there on your own, because I don't want to get killed. Because, you know, I left my post. And she starts to escort her dad to the hospital wing when she meets, dun dun dun, it's Zerani. And Zerani's like, oh, you're an elf? Well, why aren't you a demon? You should be a demon. That's not right. How'd that happen? So Zerani is like, okay, well, I can't let you go because, I mean, you've seen me, and also you're an elf. I need to figure out what's going on with you. So Zerani proceeds to beat up Sylva and kill her dad, you know, even more trauma. Sylva is an elf from birth, and Zerani made the elves into demons. I'll get into this more in her own video, but very basic. Zerani made elves into demons. It's a whole thing. But eventually Zerani's like, okay, well, I'm still gonna murder you, but I mean... So Zerani beats up Sylva even more, and then leaves her after, like, whispering a couple of creepy voodoo-y words into her ears. And then Sylva wakes up in the hospital wing. Her dad made it, though he's, like, critical condition. But that's a different problem. That's a problem for another day. So she meets the new president, who's like, okay, well, Sylva, you're gonna turn into a demon because of what Zrani, like, did her creepy whole incantation thing. So we gotta get you out of here. And, you know, I will tell everyone that you were dating Jay, and then you're gonna get killed because that's not allowed. And so Sylva's like, well, what are you gonna make me do? And the new president says that, oh, well, I'm gonna make you spy, and go to the demon side of the continent. And Sylva is not happy about that. So that's kind of Sylva's whole backstory. It was probably really rambling. I'm very sorry. I do not have a script. I should have written a script for this, because there's a lot that needed to be covered, and I hope I did it okay. We're gonna be coming to the end of this in like 20 seconds. So, Sylva eventually meets this dude named Irwin, and he's like this really chill dude. He's really nice. And then, and that's it.